Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be building the Mama Turtle, Baby Turtle matching game. Let's jump right into this. So the two main yarns that I'm using for this, other than the different colored little baby turtle bellies, that's just going to be scrap yarn. Whatever colors that you want in your scrap yarn. The two main colors though, you can use any color you want, but I used Craft Smart Lush. That's the color of this. And the brown is this Impeccable, and it is Soft Taupe. So these are the two main colors I used, and both of these call for a 5mm, and I'm using a 4mm G hook because I want the turtle shell to have this natural curve to it. So I'm going down in hook size to make my stitches tighter, but they're going to be built in half double crochets. So the green is built differently, obviously, than the brown part. So we're just going to start with the green. We're going to make a magic ring of 8 half doubles. Now, if I accidentally single crochet in this bit, then forgive me, but I'm used to working in single crochets. So this is not built in amigurumi. That's my 8 half doubles. So I'm going to slip stitch to join, and I'm going to chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch. The first stitch that you make is going to be in the chain 2 space throughout the project. So your next round is going to be 2 half doubles in each stitch around, which means this chain 2 space also gets 2 half doubles. The chain we made is what we're going to slip stitch into when we come back around. So 2 half doubles in each stitch all the way around gives you 16 stitches. So this is my chain 2. I'm going to slip stitch to the top of that chain. I'm going to chain 2. So every single first stitch that you make is going to go into that chain 2 space. Your next round is going to be 1 half doubles and an increase. So your first stitch goes into that chain 2 space, and it counts as number 1. And then your next stitch gets the increase of 2 half doubles in the same space, and repeat. So I'm all the way back around, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of this first chain and get in there. Chain 2. Your next round is going to be 2 half doubles and an increase. That's number 1 in your chain 2 space. That's number 2, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space all the way around. So I'm all the way back around. I'm going to slip stitch to the top of that chain. And I'm going to chain 2. So if at this point this is cupping too much and not, I mean there's a little bit of a cup to mine, but if it's really cupping, you're a tight crocheter, so you're going to need to go up in hook size, because they don't want it to cup that much. They need it to have a nice arc to it, but spread out like this, not cup. So if yours is, I'm a loose crocheter, so if yours is cupping too much, then I would go up in hook size before we go any further. Your next round is going to be 3 half doubles and an increase. So your first stitch goes into this chain 2 space. That's number 1. That's 3 half doubles, and then your next stitch gets the increase of 2 half doubles in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 4 half doubles and an increase, and this will bring it up to 48 stitches. That's number 1. That's 4 half doubles, and then your increase of 2 half doubles in the same space. Your next round is going to be 5 half doubles and an increase. So your first half double goes into this chain 2 space. So that's 1. That's 5 half doubles. And then the next stitch gets your increase of 2 half doubles in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 6 half doubles and an increase. So you see how it's cupping a little bit? It's just a natural little cuppy thingy it's doing because we went down in hook size. So the first stitch goes into that chain 2 space. That's number 1. Six half doubles, and then your increase. Your next round is going to be 7 half doubles and an increase. That's number 1 in your chain 2 space. So your next round is going to be 8 single crochets and an increase. Your next round is going to be 9 half doubles and an increase. So the first stitch goes into that chain 2 space. So your very last row, as you can see, it's got this natural curve to it. So your very last increase row, not your last row, just your last increase row, is going to be 10 half doubles and an increase. So this is what you should have. And it's got this arc to it. I know it's probably hard to see on my camera, but you can see your own. You can slightly see it on my camera. Here, I don't know. Like that, like a turtle shell. So your last row is just going to be 1/2 double in each stitch around. I am going to take care of my guy in the middle here because I don't want him getting stuck. Like, you're going to be shoving a bunch of turtles down in here. So you don't want them to be getting stuck on the piece of yarn you got going on. So before we finish this guy off, I'm just going to weave a little bit. So your last round is going to be 1/2 double crochet in each of those 96 stitches. That's what you should have. So your first 1/2 double goes into that chain 2 space. This is just going to help it curve just a little bit more, and then we can fasten off. So you can slip stitch, but stay attached. Don't fasten off. We're going to crochet the 2 pieces together, so we're going to do it with the green color. So stay attached, and then grab your brown, and we'll make the bottom part. So I've got my brown color. I'm changing hook sizes to 4.5. The reason is because we used a 4 so that we could get this arc. But the bottom part doesn't need to have such a dramatic arc. So we're building it almost the exact same. We're just building it with a different hook, and we're not building as many rows. So the last one had 12 rounds, and this one's just going to have 11. So we're going to cut out a whole round, and it should be flatter than the one we just did in the green. So you're going to start off the same way with a magic ring of 8 1/2 doubles. You're going to slip stitch to join chain 2. So the whole thing is going to be exactly the same. You're going to be putting your first stitch into this chain 2 space, and basically we're doing this the same pattern, just not as many rows. So your first round is going to be 2 1/2 doubles in each stitch, which means the starting chain 2 space gets 2 1/2 doubles. So it looks like you've got 3 in there, but we're going to slip stitch to the top of that one. So this should give you 16 stitches. So that's my 16th stitch. I'm going to go to the top of this first chain 2 that I made. Use that as a slip stitch and a chain 2. So your next round is going to be 1/2 doubles and an increase. So your first stitch goes into that chain 2 space. So slip stitch to the top of this first chain. Chain 2. Your next round is going to be 2 half doubles and an increase. Your next round is going to be 3 half doubles and an increase. Your next round is going to be 4 half doubles and an increase. So your next round is going to be, okay, let's take care of this guy first because he's annoying. Your next round is going to be 5 half doubles and an increase. So your next round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring it up to 64 stitches. So this is what you should have. You should be getting a little bit of a bump right here. After you flatten it down, of course. I mean, the way you hold it, it's going to be curvy like this. But after you flatten it down, should be just a little bit of a bump. So we're not doing too bad. Again, if you're a tight crocheter, you're going to be up a size bigger than me. So I'm going to slip stitch and then chain 2. Your next round is going to be 7 half doubles and an increase. So your first stitch goes into that chain 2 space. So your next round is going to be 8 half doubles and an increase. So your last increase round is going to be 9 half doubles and an increase, and this brings you up to 88 stitches, and that is as high as we are going. So this is what you should have. Just a slight little curve on it. But this is going to get sewn, or not sewn, but... So this one, this green, is a little bit bigger. But we're going to sew it onto the bottom, or crochet it together. You'll see, it'll round this out more, so that it should keep the shape pretty good. You're going to have little turtles on the inside anyway. So your last round is just going to be 1/2 double in each stitch. So this is what you should have, where it didn't help it kind of curl up a little bit more with that last round. So we're going to slip stitch and we're going to fasten off. You do not need a sewing tail with this one because we are crocheting it together with the green. So we're going to weave this in. So there you have this piece. I am going to go back to my 4mm. So this here has 88 stitches and this here has 96 stitches. So we're going to crochet the two pieces together, and obviously we don't have the right amount of stitches that we need for it. So you just got to finagle. But here we're going to leave, well, we'll do it over here. So here, let's put this in here. It's not going to fit, obviously. I want you to marker off some spots. So get some stitch markers. This'll benefit you in the long run. If you want to make another one of these without my video, you might as well figure some stuff out here. So this is our start and stop point. We're just gonna ignore that. We're gonna go over here and we're gonna marker off about, we just have to do it in the green, about where we want our head to be. So I used 15 stitches for the head. So somewhere in here, just count 15 stitches, starting with your first marker. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and the 15th stitch is right here. So these two stitches are going to be used for the neck portion. So now you got to come directly across that. This is only just so we get the butt and the tail in the same spot. So this part here is all completely up to you, how wide you want that part to be. So 15 stitches for the neck, because I've already designed how we're doing the head part, and I need the 15 stitches here to do it. This probably won't be 15 stitches, but because they're less stitches, right? So in here, to give you an example of what I'm talking about, in this 15 stitch area, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's only 12 brown stitches. So you're only going to use 12 brown stitches. So that's why we're markering in the green. So over here, depending on how big you want your butt, I did 20 in the green. So marker your first stitch that you think is going to be across from your neck. You see what I mean? When I made my first one, I didn't do all of this, and then my butt's kind of off to the side. So this will count as number 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. I'm going to marker my 20th stitch, and that to me looks like it's directly across from the head. So that's all you got to do, and then all this in the middle really doesn't count. We don't have to worry about counting anything. We just have to worry about what we're doing at our markers. So now that we've all markered off, so start where you fastened off here in the brown. I'm going to come in a little bit closer so that you can see what I'm doing. So where we're left right here, I had chained 1 because I'm only doing single crochets. Make sure I'm into the whole stitch. So chain 1 here because we're only doing single crochets, and go into where you fastened off to make your first, let me try that again, to make your first stitch and do a single crochet. So now you're going to do each stitch until you get to this stitch, till you get to the marker, and then you're going to stop. So that is 10 stitches crocheting these together. So you're going to have this rim on around the outside of the turtle, which is, you're going to have this rim around the outside of the turtle, which is exactly what we want. So from here, we're going to slip stitch in the green only. So leaving the marker in, obviously, just so in case we screw up, we're going to slip stitch our 15 stitches. Okay, I can't get around this marker, so this is my 15th slip stitch where my marker is. So when we start in the next stitch, we're only going to be skipping 12 stitches down here because it doesn't add up. So you have to just kind of pull this over and count your 15, and that'll give you a bigger gap. So count this one here too. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. So that means that your next stitch goes into your 16th stitch in the brown. So that gives you a little bit of a dip down. And that's how we're going to kind of make the stitches match up. So now this can be all crocheted together, going stitch for stitch. So that was 31 single crochets. Over to our next marker. So now these 20 single crochets for the butt opening are just going to be slip stitches in the green. I'm going to have to take this out again. So this is my 20th slip stitch. I've got 18 stitches left. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Oh, sorry. 19 stitches left. So before I do my first one, I'm just going to take this out. I am going to count 19 stitches from here back. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. So that is where my first stitch is gonna get into to make it even. My first single crochet. So all this is open now. The green is going to be larger than the brown, which is fantastic. We're putting a button on here, so it doesn't really matter. But that's what we want. And now we have 19 evenly all the way back to where we started. It's my 19th stitch. I'm going to slip stitch to the top of where I first started, and I'm going to fasten off. I'm going to take all my markers out. Put it into shape. So that's our butthole. So like I said, the green should be bigger than the brown. And then our neck hole should be even because we're building off of this. We're going to reattach and we're going to build the head off of that. The reason I chose to do that as opposed to what everybody else did, I watched a lot of videos, but nobody seemed to do this, and I found the head was very floppy in every single video. So I decided just to make a hole and build off of it. So that's what we have so far. So you can just weave this guy in, and then I'll meet you back in chapter 2 because that's been a lot. I'll meet you in chapter 2, and we'll get this guy his head and his butt and buttons. So you're gonna need buttons because I'm gonna do a button back here with his tail to close this up, and then we'll do the legs, we'll do the arms in chapter 2, and then when we come back in chapter 3, then we'll get all the little babies done. I'll see you in chapter 2. Hi, welcome back to chapter 2. So in this chapter we're going to do the head, the tail, the button, the feet, and then in chapter 3 we'll do all the little babies. So it'll be broken up pretty nicely. This might be a little bit of a shorter chapter, I'm not sure. So we're going to start with our taupe color. And we're going to make a slip knot because we're going to reattach where we left the hole in the head. So I attached just on this corner here. And the stitches I got was 32. So I'm just going to attach with a single crochet. I wouldn't be too concerned about putting another one in there, but you can if you want, because you know you can slip stitch when you come back around. I think I'm just going to build the head in amigurumi, which means I'm not going to slip stitch when I come back around. So I probably will be going or skipping that stitch. So one single crochet in each stitch all the way around. You can if you can manage to get 32 stitches, that's the number that we need. That's the magic number. So I'm all the way around. I have 32 stitches. Now this is going to be my first stitch of my next round because I'm building an amigurumi. So I'm not slip stitching or doing anything here. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease. My stitch marker is number 1. So my 4 single crochet decrease I can get around about 5 times. I got 2 stitches left for 27 stitches. So for the next 2 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 27 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So this is what you should have so far. Your next round is going to be starting the head portion. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. So it's going to get a little squishy. So this is the funny thing it should look like at this point. So for the next 3 rows, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 54 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So this is what you should have. Get my hook out of there. Straighten all my stuff out. So this is the funny looking. We're putting stuffing in this, by the way. So we're going to finish the shape, and we're going to put some stuffing in. And then we're going to flip this inside out, and we're going to sew just so the stuffing doesn't go all the way through. So it'll be perfectly fine, but this is what you should have at this point. But it'll be all wiggly and squiggly. So we're going to start to decrease. We're going to do 4 single crochet decrease. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets. I'm just doing a regular decrease, by the way. That's what I did last time too. Tried to make the head small because we don't want a whole lot of weight, and little toddlers are going to be picking this up. Or I want this to be as simple as possible, so I just did a simple little head and simple feet. So that's 45 stitches. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. And this will bring you down to 36 stitches. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet in each of these 36 stitches. So this is what it should look like. Pretty funny looking. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease. So it should have 27 stitches. For the next 2 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 27 stitches. So this is what you should have. It's pretty funny looking. It looks better when it's stuffed. So we are going to stuff it before we sew it because it gives you a better idea of where we need to sew it. So your very last round is going to be 1 single crochet and a decrease. And then we're going to stuff it and cinch it. Well, we won't finish the cinch till we're done, but oops. That marker is 1 single crochet. So I gotta jump right into my decrease. So this is 18 stitches. You're going to fasten off. So you just need a cinching tail. So let's stuff it, but don't go past here. Well, here. So this here is where we reattach. So this is the neck and this is the head. So don't stuff. We can always push it back up because we're not gonna close the cinch. We're just gonna stuff it till we're ready to cinch. But then you're probably going to want to put more in after it's sewn together. That's why we're not going to finish it. So stuff it as best you can to make that head sort of kind of round. But don't put a whole lot in because I don't want this to be heavy for kids. And I also don't want it to be too heavy that the head flops around, which is, I mean, one of the reasons why I built it on, so it doesn't get all floppy. So once you've got a significant amount, we're going to turn this in. Till this is exposed. Get the green out of the way. So, with this still folded over, we're going to get a piece of yarn. At one end, we're going to make a slip knot. The other end, we're going to put our needle on. So I want you to just use these parts. So let's first attach. So we're going to pull this through and go through the slip knot. And tie that in a double knot. So for our sewing, we're going to bring these two folded pieces together. Now you only have to grab one piece of yarn. You don't have to be super serious about it because we just are closing it so the stuffing doesn't go anywhere. So we're not really sewing up a hole or anything. So the point is, don't go deep with this because then your neck's going to look funny on the other side. As long as you stay on the surface, do surface stitches, you won't notice it on the other side. So when you get to the end, go through the loop and make a knot. And then just make sure you're weaving. You don't want anything happening to this, pulling out, because then your stuffing is going to go inside your turtle, and that's not going to be a good scene. So now that you're all sewn up in the middle, we can go back to this. So on the outside, it doesn't look like you've done anything. Nothing's gone on the outside. It all looks the same. So now we can really stuff our head and our little, what's left of our neck. We did use some of it to sew with. Put that out of the way. So, if your head's about as full as you think is okay, I'm going to cinch. So we go in the front loop of the first stitch and out the front loop of the second stitch. So I'm all the way around. So I'm going to pull. I think I need a little bit more stuffing just at the very tippy top. So I'm going to put some in there just so it's not wrinkly up here when I pull. There we go. It's still a little wrinkly. I'm very picky about the very top part. So once you pull, I want you to pop across, make a knot, pop across the other way, make a knot, and that's our head. So you can weave. So I'm just gonna move my stuffing around a bit till I get the shape I want. So that's your turtle head. It's not big enough to really put a lot of stuffing in it to make it heavy, so kids are still going to be able to, you know, pick this guy up. We can put some eyeballs on him. I just did sleeping eyes. I thought it was just simple little thing to do. But you can do, you know, whatever you want. You can do googly eyes if it's, you know, fun for the kids. You can do little googly eyes. But I just did sleeping eyes. So, and then your neck, of course, where we sewed it, kind of keeps your head up a little bit so it doesn't get all floppy. So now that we've done the head, we got to work on this butt part. PDF users, the tail is above the head. I did not do this in the exact order that I should have. So I'm still using my 4mm. So we're going to start this with a chain 6. And we're going to do 5 single crochets back down. You only have 5 working stitches. So 5 takes you right to the last stitch. Chain 1, turn your work. I want you to do 1 single crochet. And now we're going to chain 4. Skip these next stitches, and in the very last stitch, so skip 3, and in this last stitch, do a single crochet. Chain 1, turn your work. So round 3 is going to be working into this space when we come to this space, but we first have to do our 1 single crochet right on the end, and then into this space we're only going to do 3 single crochets, and then into the last stitch, chain 1, turn your work. So that's our buttonhole. We're going to do 1 single crochet in each of these 5 stitches. Chain 1, turn your work. So we're going to SC2 tog, so we're going to decrease the first 2 stitches. We're going to do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to SC2 tog, which means single crochet 2 together, our last 2 stitches. So it's just like a decrease, or it is just a decrease. Chain 1, turn your work. And now I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each stitch. Chain 1, turn your work. You should have 3 stitches, or sorry, for 4 rows we're doing this. So 3 stitches, 1 single crochet in each stitch for 4 rows. That's my second row. Third, this is my last row. Chain 1, turn your work, and now I just want you to do SC3 tog. So pull up a loop into your first stitch, pull up a loop from your second stitch, and go in and pull up a loop in the third stitch, yarn over and pull through all of that. Fasten off. So this top part is where the button's going to go up here, because their tails are long and pointed like this. But it'll be the bottom part that we sew down. So this little straggler here can get tucked away. So flip him over, try to make sure you're in a spot that is even. So I want to talk to you while we're sewing this on. I want to talk to you about my merch store. I do have a merch store, and I sell stuff that aren't necessarily tied to crochet. So I'm just asking if you'd go check out my merch shop. You can find it in the description box below. And if you want access to my PDFs that I keep talking about, I keep referring to, just hit the join button and you can become a member for $2.99 or for $4.99, and you can have access to all my PDFs. I don't often plug my merch shop, and I'm not sure if anyone's even aware. Anybody on my Facebook page is, because I kind of advertise it there, but I don't really advertise it too much in my videos other than a short little video. So I have these little pack of buttons. Try not to use this tiny button, because kids might have a hard time getting their fingers around it. Try to use a little bit of a bigger button. That's what I made the hole for, is a bigger button. So these have handmade with love written on them. I got them from Hobby, online store called Hobby. It's like Hobby Lobby. So just figure out where you're going to put it. I mean, it doesn't have to be tight, it just needs to be closed, because my turtles are big enough, they're not going to fall out. So you just need a little bit of green. See if I can find a needle. There we go. So now we can move on to feet, and then that'll be the end of this chapter. And well, I mean, I'll show you where to sew them on and everything. So the feet will be the end of this chapter, and then when we come back, we make all the little color babies. So we're going to start with our brown again. We're going to chain 7 and do 6 single crochets back up. So we only have 6 working stitches. So the 6th one is the very last one. Chain 1, turn your work. For the next 4 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 6 stitches. So that's my 4. I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. So your very last round, you're going to put a half double into this first stitch. So chain another one, put a half double, and I mean that's just so we can get our height. This chain does not count as a stitch, it's just for the height. Your next stitch is going to get a double crochet. Your next stitch is going to get 2 triples in the same space. So yarn over twice for a triple. Pull through 2, 2, and 2 3 times. So you can do the same thing for this next stitch. 2 triple crochets into that space. The next space gets the double. And the last space gets a half double. And that's the funny looking foot you can fasten off with a sewing tail. You're gonna have to move your yarn, so make it a little longer than normal. So all I did was just kind of moved my yarn. I weaved it just down the side until I popped out where I wanted to be. And then that's my foot. So you kind of got to sew them on evenly. So one there, one there. You can decide. Just do not go through all the way. Just surface stitch, because you're going to end up closing it in. And you don't want to do that. But again, it's just something simple for the kiddies. I don't want to put too big of anything on here to make it any sort of heavy for the little guys to pick up. So you can go ahead, I'll put the pattern on the screen and go ahead and make your other 3. Here's my guy. And all my little feet sewn on. Now they're going to curl, whether you block them or not. Trust me. They're going to curl, and that's okay, because it's just little kids. Just a little kid's toy. So, chapter 3 next is just going to be all the little babies. So, make sure you come with all your little scrap colors. And we'll make all the little babies, and then that'll be the end. Hi guys, welcome back to chapter 3. So we have to start making all the little baby turtles. So this is going to be a short part of the chapter. I'm going to do one with you. The pattern stays the same. It's just this color part that changes. You have to do 2 of the same color because it's a matching game. And then you can do as many little turtles as you want. You can do, as long as it's an even number, you can do 8, you can do 10. As long as 2 turtles have the exact same color for the matching game to work. We're going to start with a magic ring. of 6 single crochets. Now if you struggle with a magic ring, then you can either watch the short I have on my channel, or you can do a chain 2 and put 6 single crochets into the first stitch. That is my 6 single crochets. So this is again amigurumi, so no slip stitching, no chaining. We're just going to jump right into our first stitch. We're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. After that's the first stitch gets the marker, then you can put stitch number 2 in there. So this will give you a total of 12 stitches. Your next round, still using the same color, is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. So I'm on my last stitch. I have 18 stitches. I'm going to switch to my brown. So that's about as much color as we're using, and then we're getting into the real color. So this part of the project is the only one thing that's going to change, and it's just the color that's going to change. So with your brown, you're going to start with 2 single crochets. Not in the same hole. So that's my first single crochet. That's my second. We're going to do the pop stitch. The pop stitch is pretty easy peasy if you don't know how to do it. We're going to do 5 triple crochets into the same space. So that's my 5. I'm going to pull my hook out of my loop. And I'm going to go back here to the first stitch that I made, and I'm going to insert my hook, and then I'm going to put my loop on the front part of it. I'm going to yarn over and pull through and secure the stitch. And then I'm going to come down here to the next stitch and make a single crochet. One more single crochet, and then we're going to do a cluster stitch. So cluster stitch, again, this is all just easy peasy stuff, but let's cut off our, I think we've weaved in far enough, if that's how you did it. So in this next stitch, the cluster stitch, we're going to yarn over and we're going to go in and pull up a loop 4 times. We're going to do that. So that's number 1. So pull up on it. That's 2 times, 3, and 4 times. So once you have this gobbledygook on your hook, you can yarn over and pull through all of it. I get stuck on everything going through. Secure it with a stitch. That's your foot. This is your head. And then we're going to do 3 single crochets. And then we're going to do another cluster. So yarn over and pull up a loop 4 times. Yarn over and pull through all of the gobbledygook and secure it. So this next stitch, I want you to go in, do 1 single crochet, and then chain 4. Your first stitch is going to be 1 single crochet. We're going back down the chain, and then you're going to do a half double. And then you're going to do a double in the last stitch. You're going to skip this middle one, and you're going to go over to the next one and do a single crochet. And now we're going to do another cluster in this next space. So yarn over and pull up loop 4 times. Secure it. You're going to do 3 single crochets just like the other side. And in this very last stitch, you're going to do another cluster. Take your marker out, go into the next stitch and fasten off. So that's your little turtle. So you can just pop your clusters around, because these are the little feet. So they just get popped around. Your head stays the same. This is your tail. And that's your little underside of your turtle. So, like I said, this is the only part that changes color. And that's where your scrap yarn comes in. So, I'm just going to take this and pull it through to this side. Cut it off a little bit. We're going to be putting a shell over this, so it does not really matter if this gets weaved in or not, but just kind of pull it through. Pull that knot down a little bit. And that's your little turtle. So we're going to make a shell, and then we're going to crochet it to the top. We're not sewing. So get your green. So with your green, you're going to make a magic ring of 6 single crochets. Again, if you don't know how to do a magic ring, then you can do a chain 2 and put 6 single crochets into the first stitch. Your first round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. For the next 2 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 18 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So that's my little shell. I'm not fastening off because I'm going to crochet it to this guy. So just each of these have 18 stitches. So I'm going to start over here where I fastened off from my turtle. So I'm going to go into my next stitch and I'm going to pick up this next stitch right next to the head. That's number 1. So the head's tricky. You've got a couple of spots that we could go into. We're just going to go into this one. So that's the middle. So you got 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. But those 2 on either side aren't stitches technically. That's your stitch. So it is hard to figure out where you're supposed to go. Your 3rd stitch is going to go to the other side of the head. It's hard to show you too. Oops. Hold that brown right through. Got snagged. So there's another stitch in here next to the leg because we did 2 stitches to get to the leg. Your next stitch is a little difficult because you've got your little cluster stitch. So you gotta find this stitch right here. So just you have to pop your cluster around because this is the underside anyway. So pop your cluster around. It looks like there's a stitch there and a stitch there. We're gonna skip that stitch and go into this stitch because it's way easier. And that's stitch number 5. Right? 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. And then you've got 3 stitches along here. That's 9. Pop your cluster stitch out again. You're going to pick up the same stitch as you did before. That's 10. And then we did that 1 stitch before our chain, so we got to make sure we get into that. And then this tail, I just kind of picked up these pieces here. And that's the skipped stitch. That's the skip stitch that I skipped. And then I did 1 single crochet before my next cluster, so we got to find that one. And then let's do the leg, and then we can put some stuffing in this before we close it up. So that leg stitch again, that foot stitch, whatever you want to call it. And then let's stuff it a bit before we keep going. The little tiny hole that we have. So after the leg we did 3 stitches to our next cluster, so let's grab those. Oh, I keep getting stuck on this brown. That's one leg. Not a leg. One stitch. So I'm at my next leg. I think I'm right here. And then one tiny wee little stitch after that leg, because I did two, and this is the first one I started in. So we have one left, and that is it. So we can go into the top of this first stitch that we made here and fasten off. And that, pull your legs out, just in case the cluster didn't completely pop out. So your tail will curl. So that's your little, when laid flat, you can't see that color. So kids won't be able to see that color when your turtle, is laid flat. And then they flip them over and they match the colors. So make sure this is significantly stuffed so it doesn't, so it flips over nicely and stays there. Then we just weave. And those are your turtles. So, like I said, it's a matching game. So 2 colors, same colors for 2 turtles for the matching part. And then you can do as many as you think will fit inside. Which are a lot compared to, the turtle. Mama's pretty big, so you could probably get 8 to 10 little matching colored turtles for inside for this little matching game. So I'm going to leave you to go and make your other baby turtles, and I will meet you back here and we'll see what everything looks like. Alrighty, I am back with all my little different colored turtles for this matching game. And when you turn them over, you can't see the colors. So that's important, because you don't want your little guy or your little gal to see any colors. And there, we have our little turtles. I think it's super cute. So I did 10. And then you open up your little bum, and that's where all the little guys are gonna go. And it's still nice and light, that if your little guy, little fella, wants to go and grab a little toy to bring it to you, it's light enough that he's not gonna struggle, not heavy at all. And there we have it. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. So your feet will probably curl up a bit, but that's okay. And there you go, your little mama turtle, baby turtle matching game. Thanks for joining me, guys. This was actually a really fun project. I think I'm actually going to make more. I'm definitely giving one to my grandson, so I think he'll love it. Thanks for joining me again, guys. I'll see you in the next video.